Hi, I'm Alison Crouch from Boomerang Pilates, and thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about core work today. We're going to rethink how we engage our core. This is less about big intense core work and more about really getting into the deep core muscles. And the deepest of those muscles, it's not actually an abdominal muscle, it's the psoas. You have two of them, one on either side of your body. This super relaxing position is the most important thing that you can do in advance of an ab workout. We're going to replace the positioning of your body so that your abdominal muscles work better. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a couple of sofa cushions, the solid, dense ones that you sit on, not the squishy ones from the back. You want to have a nice, consistent curve through your neck. So if you're here and your head's falling back, that's not going to be as effective. If putting one half dome or one smaller cushion or rolled up towel is not enough, get something bigger, right? Because you still don't want to have your chin pushing up. You want to be supported to the bottom of your shoulder blades. And then the rest of your ribs and your spine just get to drape down towards the floor. You're going to have the backs of your legs heavy and relaxed on the mat. You're going to have your lower abdominals relaxed and your pelvic floor released. This is it. This is your big introduction to your core workout. We're going to allow the muscles that attach to the spine, to the discs, come down on an angle attached to your pelvis and to your leg bones, to relax and to release and settle into a longer, more natural position. They tend to get really tight and jacked up. And if you're this way, right, you might, I've got my back down nicely because I do this a lot, but this may not be where you start. You might start here with your ribs all pushed up off the floor. This is a very difficult position for your abdominal muscles to get any traction. It's hard to get them to work here. So we're going to take this opportunity to let the whole back settle and ease down towards the floor. This isn't something you do, it's something you allow. A stretch is something you tend to feel. A release is, there's not a lot of sensation attached to it, it's just time. So if you're watching this at home, turn the video off, turn your phone off, whatever you're using. Hang out here for a good 8, 10, 12 minutes. For the purposes of this video, we're going to carry on and pretend we've already been doing this for 10 minutes. You're going to sit up and remove your bolster. Fancy. And lie back down. So you can start by seeing how you are in terms of your neutral pelvis and your neutral ribcage and spine. If your legs, your hamstrings are heavy and relaxed on the floor, which might involve a little shifting of your butt, you want to have your pelvic heads and your pubic bones level. So if you put a bowl of soup on your pelvis, it wouldn't tip in any direction. For a lot of people, they can do that, but for that to happen, the ribs need to pull way up. So now your spine and your ribs are not neutral. So you want to let the back of your rib cage drop down towards the floor. So again, it's not push from the front, right? It pulls into your neck, it pulls into the backs of your legs. You want to ease the back down, and that's going to let your stomach muscles become more active at the front. So then we'll do some work. You're going to bring one leg up to tabletop, and you're going to check and see if you can still maintain your neutrals in this position. If you can, great. We're going to then bring the other leg up to tabletop. Check and see if you can keep everything neutral and stable. If you have any pain in your back or your neck, you're going to bring one leg back down. We're going to start just doing a one-legged modification. If this is not comfortable, bring a chair or a stability ball or the edge of your sofa, and you're going to actually support both feet. And it may be for you that just coming into that neutral position is enough work at the moment to get familiar with. And you just want to practice breathing, nice big breaths into the ribs, finding that ability to exhale with your stomach muscles draping down, and that's where you stop because we don't want you to injure yourself. So with either one or two legs up, we're going to just hang out here for a moment. This is the endurance portion of your program. So you want to think of the leg bones dropping down deep into the hip socket. You want to have width across your pelvis, so your stomach muscles are draping down low and wide across your stomach muscles. You may have some surface tension happening that's related to perhaps cheese and wine. That's okay. It's not the top we're worried about dropping down. It's the muscles underneath not pushing and pushing up tight. So if you've been able to hold this, excellent. Now we're going to start to move. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to arc in the hip. You're going to slide one leg down only as far as makes sense for you. And we're going to aim to do these exercises for about 1 minute at a time, as long as is good and stable and solid for you. So you might do 30 seconds, you might do 20 seconds. You do what works for you. Make sure that as you send the leg away, this is where the abdominal work is happening, right? As you add the weight of your leg traveling away from center. You want to keep your ribs and your pelvis stable, neck and shoulders relaxed. I use something behind my head because otherwise I find it harder to get my ribs to connect, right? If you find this is how you're doing your ab work, pop something into your head. Bring that leg up. We're going to shift over to the other side. Arcing the leg only as far away from you as makes sense, right? So if you go this far, that's great. If you come all the way down to the floor and your body gives way, you've gone too far, right? This is not really about your legs, it's about your core. Neck and shoulders relaxed, stomach muscles traveling low and wide. Try and stay as relaxed as you can. You have to use your leg muscles here. You can't move your legs without them, but we're not trying to focus in on this being primarily a hip flexor and thigh exercise. Neck and shoulders relaxed. 2 more. Float back up. Bring the leg down. You're going to come all the way down and then bring the other leg down. Bring your legs all the way together, and we'll just do a little rotation before we hit the next version of the exercise. So the same thing will apply. Either bring both legs up to tabletop or you'll keep one leg on the floor. And we're going to do a full leg extension. So again, find your neutral. Pelvic heads, pubic bones nice and level, ribs anchored down onto the ground. Either bring one leg up and extend that one leg, if that's what feels good and safe for your back, or bring the other leg up. And again, just do a little double check. The process of coming into tabletop is sometimes enough in and of itself to pull you out of your neutral. So we're going to keep the feet nice and relaxed and Raggedy Ann-ish. Nice smooth movement of the legs in the hip sockets. Inhale here. We're going to alternate from side to side. Reach. Nice long leg. Slide back in. Reach. Nice long leg. Slide back in. So you want to get that full extension instead of, again, making it kind of more of a leg thing where you don't really straighten your legs all the way. So continue reaching nice and long. Find an opening through the back of the knees. This is harder, right? There's more leg weight traveling away from you, so you may need to bring your leg a little higher, again, to keep your back nice and safe and stable. If you feel this almost entirely as leg work, I would suggest maybe bring one leg down and see if you can find a slightly lower angle that triggers more abdominal work with less thigh work without straining your back. And if you're here and your back is super stable, absolutely, you can bring your legs a little bit lower, find a little deeper load for your stomach muscles. If you feel big clunking in your hips as you do this, you want to go higher. That would be your psoas, an indication that your psoas can't really manage that range of motion. So this is all about finding the modifications you need to make to really target your core rather than your legs. So we're going to do one more on each side. Nice long extension, nice long extension. Slide the legs back in and then flip them to the floor. One more little rotation from side to side, just to make sure that you've got good mobility in your back and you're not locking in. And then we will move into an upper abdominal flexion. So now you're going to maintain a nice long neutral line through the lower body, but we're going to move into curving through into your upper abdominals. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, you're going to stay with the first level of this exercise. We're not going to move through into the full roll up. This is particularly important for you at home. You need to be very clear that big curves through your spine where you're not necessarily fully controlled is risky for your bones. So you'll stay on the first version. You're going to bring your arms back. Find your nice settle of your ribs. Inhale, slide your eyes and your arms forward. Exhale, peel up, reach your fingers, and drop the bottom of your rib cage down. So we're not trying to push with the chin. Drop the base of the ribs. Inhale, Keep your toes nice and relaxed. Exhale, slide all the way back down. If you don't want your head thing here, you can absolutely remove it. You'll get a little bit more range of motion. Inhale, exhale, slide up, dropping the bottom of the ribs nice and low and wide across the pelvis, right? We're trying to get these upper muscles at the base of the ribs. Roll back down. Spine sequence your return so that you're not doing this, right? Too much momentum, not enough abdominal work. So you're up, and then you keep this placed and lengthen through your spine. 5 more. Inhale, exhale, peel up. So again, if once you've taken something away from your head, you can't get your ribs on the floor, pop it back under your head. This is the key. Getting this activation here, whatever you need to do to make your head and neck work to get into your upper abdominal muscles. So if you have any bony issues, you're going to continue with that version. Otherwise, inhale, and then exhale, roll all the way up and through. Your stomach muscles curl around in towards the front surface of your spine, and then you articulate all the way back down. Arms come up and overhead. If, as you're moving, what happens is your arms and your legs and your feet move, you come up and everything pulls tight and you can't talk anymore, you'll know that you're not really using your stomach muscles anymore in isolation. Now you're using your psoas, you're using your hip flexors, right? Your feet come up like this. So if that's the case, you go back to this. You go as far as you can go without pulling your legs up off the floor, because we're rethinking how you approach your core work. So it's not go through as far as you think you're supposed to go at all costs. It's go as far as you can actually go using your core muscles. So once we've done that, we'll go into some rotation. You'll bend your knees, have a little settle. You're going to roll over onto your side, bottom leg out of the way, top leg on the floor. We want to be lined up. Usually we're not, right? When we lie on our sides, we're a bit sloppy. So you want to line up from your hip to the middle of your rib cage, to the middle of your shoulder, to the middle of your ear. That usually means bring your head back a little bit. And then let your ribs settle back a little bit. Usually we're a bit popped forward and there's no transverse activation. Reach your top arm towards the ceiling and then move from your rib cage to rotate your torso. I don't need your hand, I actually don't want your hand to touch the floor here. That ends up leading to usually an internal rotation of the shoulder and less movement in the torso. We're really looking at getting into your obliques, into this nice long diagonal line. And then you hang out. This is another opportunity for your muscles to work in their longest form. We're not looking for a repeated movement at the moment, we're looking for a working stretch. And as you hang out, you might certainly be feeling a stretch across the front of the chest and in through the pec and the shoulder, but hopefully you're also feeling some length through the torso, front and back, right? We're looking at the whole core here, not just the abdominal muscles. And as you hang out, ideally what's happening is your shoulder blades are aiming towards the floor. Not the tops of your shoulders, so that your back pulls up, and not your lower back, but your mid-back. Keep the pelvis nice and stable, the knee stays on the floor. This is the biggest cheat here, is that the arm comes all the way down, but the knee has come up. Just like with anything else, if you're looking to repeat a motion for about 1 minute, you're also looking to hold the stretches for about 1 minute. It gives a long enough time for your body to acclimate to the change in position. You can certainly play around with that arm. See how it feels if you slide down just below shoulder height. See how it feels at shoulder height. See how it feels above. But we're trying to keep this shoulder working. You're trying to press up a little bit with the arm. That active arm gives you more access to the rotation. You can experiment. Relax your arm completely so that it's on the floor, and you'll feel that your rotation will diminish. Your ribs will come up. So that's what we're looking to acquire in this particular shape. And then you can slide your leg down, roll over onto your back, bring yourself back to center, get yourself all organized, and we'll do the same thing going in the other direction. Bottom leg comes down, top leg rolls over, get your knee right on the floor, line yourself up. So whatever shifting you need to do to make that happen, from the center of the hip to the center of the rib cage, shoulder, ear. Find a little space between your spine and your shoulder blade, and then roll your rib cage towards the floor. Other knee stays down. So this is my job. I do this all the time. I have a reasonably good range, but you can see even I'm not all the way on the floor. You might be up here, right? Your arm might be this far from the floor, and that's where you can get to, because that's what your muscle patterns will allow. That's fine. You'll get out of it eventually. But remember, the goal is not to do this, right? This is not helping your core. It's just twisting your shoulder. This is what we're trying to bring down to the mat. You can use the other hand to kind of check in on your placement. Make sure your knee stays down. You want to keep that action available to you in the front of your off shoulder. You can have your head supported or not, as you feel better with. I like it up. And again, it's this space just at and below the shoulder blades that are coming towards the floor. You may need to pick your ribs up and shift them slightly as you increase your range. Big breath into the sides of the ribs, and then as you exhale, let the back settle down towards the floor. Once you get accustomed to this kind of held shape, it can be remarkable how much you release into the shape over the course of a minute. Again, you want to make sure that you're keeping the arm off the floor. You can do a couple of little slides of the arm up and down. Feel what happens in terms of the rotation of your torso. What happens is in the bonus shoulder stretch that you might be getting. Slide all the way back. Arm comes down, roll over, and then come back to center and see if you can, without using your hands, sit yourself up, and we'll do some seated rotation. Feel free to fix your jewelry in the process so you don't strangle yourself. So if you're happy sitting here cross-legged, that's great. If that's not good for your knees, come to this position where you've got a little bit less twist and torque on your hips and your knees. If your hips are tight and your knees are okay, sit up on your bolster, on your half dome, on a towel, whatever you've got, just to give yourself a little extra space. Arms round, slightly below shoulder height. We don't want you hiking up into your ears. So now you're going to take that nice pliable torso and we're going to do some active rotation. Keeping your ribs centered over your pelvis. You're going to turn to the right, as far as you can go without displacing anything, and come back to center. And again to the right. And come back to center. So the things you want to look out for, the fact that you're not actually turning, that you're just moving your arms or just moving your arms in your head. You want your hands to stay lined up with your sternum, and your sternum is turning, right? Your whole rib cage, because your obliques are wrapping right up along the side of your rib cage. We're going to do 2 more on this side. And then we're going to change over and do the same thing on the other side. Nice little settle. Get your sit bones level, rib cage over pelvis, and turn. So the other thing, you keep turning, the other thing that we're looking for is that as you rotate, you end up pulling into your back, right? So you get a pull forward this way. That means you're using too much back muscle, and again, you don't have good access to your stomach muscles in this position. So as you turn, if you're feeling more work in the side and the back, let this all soften down so that your rib cage is over your pelvis. And again, you're getting your rotation right from the inside of that cylinder, right? Come back to center. 1 more. And then bring your arms down for a moment. We're now going to add an opening of the arm. It makes it harder to keep your rotation focused because now you don't have your hands in front of your sternum. You're going to have one hand there, but the other arm's going to open. Challenge your coordination a little bit more, and your range will probably increase slightly. So now we'll alternate from side to side. Nice big inhale, rib cage settled over pelvis. Turn and open, and center, and open, and center. Try and keep your arms slightly below shoulder height. Again, so you're using your deltoid, not your traps. And rotate and center. So don't let the movement move so that it's all coming from your arm. The arm is flowing from your obliques. And center. And center. We're going to do one more on each side. And then come back to center and bring your arms down. Send your legs out front and shake them out a little bit, especially if you don't really like sitting with your legs crossed. The other alternative is you can do this standing, you can do it kneeling, if you're okay with kneeling. Anything that's going to allow you to position yourself so that your ribs are over your pelvis, that's the key for any of the rotation shapes. So thank you so much for coming to play. Really think about how you use your core when you're working out, less so that you feel the burn and more so that you develop a really strong, pliable container for everything important that's happening in your center. See you next time.